folks, this is Tony for aminutemidnight.com. I've had a number of people asking about Jeremy. Have I heard anything from Jeremy, my ex-32nd degree Freemason source? Well, yes, I have. In the last couple of days I've had quite a bit of contact with him, and he's emailed me some information and also some audio. With communication between us, there's always some personal stuff, that I have to edit out and so on, because it's, just have to be careful with what is said online. But what I've got here, I think, is information that is, it's heavy, it's pretty mind-blowing, but I think it's important that you hear it. With anything, remember that the source or sources that Jeremy has are people that are on the wrong side of the ledger as far as these spiritual places go. And being Freemasons, you have to take it somewhat with a grain of salt, because they will often tell you a lot of truth and then mix in a lie in if it suits them. And, Jeremy, of course, is not one of those. He hasn't been a Freemason for a number of years now, but the people that he gets information from, you've got to remember, still are. So they could feed him some disinformation. So you need to sift through that. Also take it to God as well and ask him what to do and to confirm this, whether you should do anything with it or what. And, just make sure you take everything to God and don't just take everything that you hear here. But having said that, it's pretty heavy, it's pretty important. And also, just of note, of Jeremy's sources that he has, the one major source who basically he's previously said that was it as far as information goes. Well, he has not heard from that source again. So this, that person's gone to ground. So with having said all that, have a listen and share this. Share it, but remember that Jeremy's sources are Freemasons, and while I do trust Jeremy, I think it's prudent not to necessarily trust everything that comes from his sources, and I think he would agree.
Hey Tony, I wanted to tell you a little bit more, and there's just a few other things I want to say, and you can use it if you want to. I just really feel compelled to say this, because this is a lot of information. The first of this is for you. So yesterday I met with my friend again, and we talked a great deal. And a lot of things went a little more in detail to me about the situation that's going on. And when that interview started with me and you last year, he told me that they had mentioned trying to hack your account and that they were reporting every video. I don't know that means anything, but I do remember one time you said your account, somebody was trying to hack it, but I don't know if that was any time near the beginning of when we talked or not, or if that's common or any of that. I just felt like I need to mention that to you. So, all right. So I know a lot of things have been really changing lately, more so than ever. And my source told me that everything is about to change more than ever, and you cannot prepare for what's coming. That's what he said. Now, I'm not telling you not to. I think it's a good idea to, as I've always said, as I prepared. But going through this, God keeps putting on my mind, do not fear, do not fear, do not fear. And we know that fear is not good. I really believe God's going to do miracles in the time that's coming. I really do. And other people say it too. I really believe he will. I think he will feed people. There's a lot of people out there that can't even buy food or medicine, and I just believe God's going to do it. But I believe that personally. I want to say that. Don't fear. The reason he told me that this lockdown occurred was exactly what I thought, so they could take rights away slowly and see how people take it. And they took it lying down easy, which makes this come even faster, what's coming. But also, he said they wanted all these businesses closed beforehand, all these restaurants and stores that aren't chained, so people cannot get food or buy food from other people. It's going to have to be industrial. It's going to have to be through them or through chains to where, like this COVID pass or whatever else nefarious they have that they're going to give, you have to have in order to go. So mom and pop stores, you might have been able to get away with that, but in big ones you will not. And he reiterated that over and over, that was part of everything they've talked about, was killing these small businesses for that reason. I've never thought about that before. And he said that Biden obviously was part of this, which we know they all are, but that he was going to remove himself, whatever that means, in some way, maybe health, I don't know. And that's going to cause the issue right there. He says that's why he hasn't chosen a running mate, and that Trump is... I'm sure he doesn't have all the details, but what he's heard these politicians say is that he is either going to try to delay the election, making it look like, well, I don't want to take over here, but let's just delay it till we can get this fixed, whatever the situation is. And I said before that I've heard that from my sources all, that they would stage some kind of removal of him permanently. And you understand that. And I hope that does not happen. But that he will be okay, that it will be fake. And that they will stage an event, a nuclear event, somehow to do with this. And it makes... they put a prophecy out years ago, I told you, in the lodge, that there would be a nuclear event in the West. And he said in America. And he said they were going to blame it on these leftist protesters, which they still are going to get. You're hearing this. They're going to tag, they're focusing on the black community to give them these vaccines first. And they will, you watch. They will. These are awful people, and they cannot have people questioning this beast system that comes. They can't have people out there protesting. So people that do that are going to be the first ones gone. And old people that do not, you can't, I mean, you're not going to be able to be a slave in their mind if they have to keep you up or pet you. So he says that Kushner was disinformation, that was a lie. This source, I'm not going to talk about this source, but I'm going to say this is one who I know believes in Jesus, who wants to leave bad but is afraid to, and was there after me, was there the whole time with me. And I know, he said some of the things they said that they wanted to do to me after I left. And one of them was set me up on rape charges when I started doing these interviews. So that tells you right there. But that's been a while. So now it's just to the point where it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore. I think they want you to know. And he agreed, because you can expect it. Your mind is set for it. There's just such... I've always said to prepare. He said that I asked him about the monetary system. He said that gold and silver would be illegal. It would be illegal to use or barter. He said they've all invested in online currency, which is why the cousin that I had a while back knew I wasn't a Mason anymore when I said, what are they investing in? That was evidently well known. And he said there were in Colorado, Montana, and Canada these places they've built and funded, stocked, that I told you I heard they called Babylon, the one in Colorado years ago. I think that very well could be where my family are, which, I don't think you're going to be able to hide from anything, but I think they're going to be able to hide from what they're planning. There will be another lockdown. It's going to happen, and I think everybody knows that. And it's going to be the lockdown. It's going to be permanent until the same thing's getting ready to happen. All these people that are protesting and tearing things up, and it's going to be on steroids. Like I said before, they said when they go in homes, and they are going to start over this election thing that happens. Whatever this happens is supposed to happen in September. He gave me the date September 22nd. I don't know what's supposed to happen on that day, but he said something major. And he also said November would be the big one. Now, he said that this event with the president was going to make the right and Christians rise up, which is what I've always heard, and that there would be killing in the street. And this is going to bring in, because of insurrection, a military is what I'm still hearing, and he doesn't even know this. And he did not say anything about participating in it. That may be only for higher level or people who, he just didn't say anything about it. But he said that they will go door to door. They will be the ones that make you take the vaccine. And he said it will be he said they've already started getting rid of police that will not go along with this. And I heard somebody else tell me that. So the ones left will. And I've heard this is the same thing going on in all caliber of that group in society. All law enforcement, fire, personnel, medical. That's what I've heard. And we are at a time where nothing they do is going to surprise you. So whatever it is, just, don't be afraid. God's with you, and God is stronger than this. And if something you can imagine how wonderful heaven is. So if we have to go through something bad to get there, then that's fine with me. I think we're going to have to go through some things. I don't personally think we're going to be hearing the worst of it, but I think some of us may. So he told me the first time I've ever heard this out of the lodge that Obama would be back. I've always felt that. I've always thought it, but that wasn't a fact. He said he absolutely would be back, though not through election. And he would clamp down. And he said that he's the end, because after he comes is a major event where there will be nuclear weapons and I have heard from the beginning, and I've told Tony, but I've never said it in any interview, that my politician main source told me that a natural event was coming. And I've heard that several times. And I've just never mentioned it because that's all the facts I knew about it. And he confirmed that, and he said there are events they're looking for to come from space. But he says and indicates that he thinks they're going to do nuclear weapons and blame it on that. I don't know if that's happening with it or if that's it, and they're going to, but Revelation says it's going to happen. So it's coming, but before the revelation, I think by what, and so does he, that they're going to use nuclear weapons and say it's that, or maybe with that when that's coming. whatever the case, if you can buy food, prepare at home while you still can do it, and you won't have to leave. And this vaccine, he has told me absolutely is everything I've heard. It is absolutely not good, which the old and sick, it's going to end their life. And he says there's something that he has heard that they've tailored it for different people in different areas. So I don't know what that means. He doesn't know what that means. But if they're wanting to give it to blacks first, you can use your God-given brain, because they're some of the most vulnerable in this country, to where they couldn't fight back financially or legally, and a lot of them wouldn't know. And you can see them targeting that group first. Most people that are home are upset with these younger people because of what they're doing. But there's a whole lot of white people out there with those blacks that were tearing the country up. And a lot of those, I think everybody that was out there that can be traced is some of the first ones they're going to get. Because, again, they cannot have this type of upset in a new system. But the main thing about all this, my source told me, is this system, this New World Order, all the young people of the world know it's nefarious. They know names George Soros, Rothschild Gates. They know these names. And I've always said personally that system has to fail for a new one to come in. And he says it's the whole New World Order system that has to be brought down for the Luciferian New World Order to stand. And he says that's the plan. All this, the UN, everything. He said all this has to fail, and they've built it to do this. They're planning this. They have the solution. And I don't think any of these people are going to be hurt. I'm sure they'll be taken to some tropical island where they can sip margaritas. But this system, he said, will come down so people think the whole bad system is gone and everything they've went through is for the good. And that's when the Christian right are targeted. Because he said they've said that we have manifested it because we've wanted end times to come so we could go home, and we have mentally manifested all this bad stuff that happens, that this is what they're going to portray, and we're keeping the world back. We're the only people that hate society. We hate gay people and anybody that's different, and we tell people they sin and they can't be happy and live the way they want. So we're the negative ones in this world. Prepare for that. That's coming, and our families may be part of that. And if so, you know where you're going, and do not fear. Remember, I forgot his name. He was stoned and he looked up and saw Jesus. Think about that, where you're gonna be when we're going through this bad stuff. You're never alone. Jesus Christ is right beside of you and with you. And I don't tell any of this to make anybody scared. I tell them so they maybe can expect what's coming, because the sources I've had have had a really good track record for predicting, and it's happening. I knew the military would give the vaccines. I said that months back. And when I was told that, of course, I didn't personally know anything. And I believe also that God has given me the ability to be able to find this information to share it. I really believe that. I've had dreams myself, and I was unnerved for a good part of the year, and I'm not anymore. I'm not afraid at all. And actually, I'm ready for this to come so I can go home. I'm ready for this. I believe that God truly will make food for people. I believe he will manifest miracles that have never been done before. I almost know it in my heart. I believe it. So thank you for listening, and pray for me and pray for Tony. And in these times, I know they're rough, but if you have anything extra, support Tony, because he works really hard and puts his neck on the line to get this information out there, and he could use it. But he said they wanted to try to hack your website and shut it down. But I think it was personal to them, and I'm talking about them being the lodges I was part of. It was more personal. This time I just thought I need to say, don't be afraid, that God's with you. And you know it's true. I just feel like God put that on my heart to say, and I needed to say it. There's such scary times coming ahead. You know it. And he says this will happen before the end of the year. He's told me that twice now, that all this they want all this done and wrapped up before Christmas. He's made that clear. And he said that people have been coming to these large meetings in the city to have conversations about what's coming. People that he don't even know from D.C. have been coming to these meetings, Scottish Rite meetings, and discussing the events to come and telling people where to go. He said 80% of those Masons are gone, and they're out west in Colorado, Montana. He said most of them are in Colorado. That was the biggest one because it's a city. He said it's a city, and I heard it was a city years ago, but they were building it. Or they bought something that was the government's and refitted it for their needs, and they called it Babylon. That's what they called it years ago. And I'm talking like in 2008. And I never heard anything else about it, but I know that's where my family went. I know it is. I know it. I mean, they would be nowhere else. Nobody has done nothing, and I'm still trying to warn people and show them evidence, and they think I'm crazy. Oh, there's no food shortage. I mean, people still are actually saying that. So, people already, like I said, they think I'm crazy for even suggesting that. They say, well, things are going to get better. Trump's going to make it better when he gets elected again. If I hear that again.
Well, folks, it's pretty heavy information for sure, and just take everything to God, and I guess in these times, really, that is what we have to do with everything. We cannot count on governments, we can't count on anything worldly. We must put our faith in Jesus Christ, and that is the only thing we can do that has any surety at all in the coming days. And folks, that's about where it's at. So remember to visit our website, aminutemidnight.com, and you can find all our shows there on audio and video format, as well as on iTunes and YouTube. And remember, A Minute to Midnight is run 100% by donations, and the music used in the shows is music I've written, played and recorded. That's it for this episode, folks. God bless, keep safe, and hopefully we will be back in a few days' time.